Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Saturday, the 9th of November 2024, the year of 1,000,000 transactions per second or more. Experience the best of both worlds today at betbitcoinsv.com, the best casino and sports betting on chain. Have a little flutter in private using the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Right, let's see what we got today. So, quite an interesting article here, just literally published yesterday. By Brownstone Institute, saying why Roger Ver deserves a presidential pardon. It's a 15-minute read, quite a long one. I haven't read it yet, but just thought I'd go over it for purposes of a bit of Bitcoin history. See what it's like. Then we've got some more posts here from CSW, like epic posting here from Craig, some really good ones. Another article that he's also posted. Got a post here from Calvin that seemed quite interesting that I wanted to go over. Then we'll have some of the articles from Cointelegraph, a little bit 365 days of Bitcoin history. Then we'll have a look at some of the figures, and that'll be the end of the show. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1,000,000 strong, the transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Alrighty, here we go. So Brown's Institute. I don't even know about them actually. Let's have a quick look about Brownstone Institute. Brownstone Institute is a non-profit 501c3 organization founded in May 2021 during COVID. Its vision is for a society that places the highest value on voluntary interaction of individuals, groups, while minimizing the use of violence and force, including that which is exercised by public or private authorities. Blah blah. Oh, there we go. Look. The motive force of Brownstone Institute was the global crisis created by policy responses to the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. The trauma revealed a fundamental misunderstanding alive in all countries around the world today. Yeah. Authoritarianism. Right. Okay, let's see what this says then. Interesting, now we know a little bit about them. I wonder if I could just listen to this. Let's see what it sounds like.
Why Roger Ver Deserves a Presidential Pardon. By Aaron Day at brownstone.org. The U.S. government is attempting to imprison Roger Ver for 109 years for the crime of following his lawyer's advice. His case represents an unprecedented attack on attorney-client privilege that threatens everyone who relies on professional counsel. Today, Ver sits silenced in Spain, unable to defend himself publicly, while prosecutors use his own lawyer's records against him. Records that show his meticulous attempts to follow the law. This isn't just about cryptocurrency. It's about whether any American can safely consult legal counsel without fear of prosecution. If this precedent stands, seeking professional advice could become evidence of criminality. Business owners, entrepreneurs, and ordinary citizens who rely on lawyers and accountants will all be at risk. The time to act is now, before this dangerous precedent becomes permanent. Imagine for a moment that you're an entrepreneur with an unwavering belief. State control over money isn't just wrong, it's a weapon. It fuels violence, breeds poverty, and crushes individual freedom. You've seen the wreckage it leaves behind and know that there has to be a better way. You know this because you've experienced the state's brutality firsthand. At just 22, you were imprisoned for 10 months in federal prison. Your supposed crime? Selling firecrackers on eBay's then legal guns and ammo section without a license. But the real reason, as Roger tells it, was speaking truth to power. Declaring that taxation is theft and wars are mass murder. In prison, you experienced psychological torture that haunts you to this day. A guard planted a weapon on you as a joke, threatening you with additional years in prison until you broke down in tears. You witnessed the theatrical deception when inspectors visited, seeing how the system maintains its facade of legitimacy while grinding down human dignity behind closed doors. In Roger's own words from his emotional testimony, "That man just purely tortured me for his own amusement. When he sees that enough tears are coming down my face and that I'm crying enough, he pats me on the shoulder and says, 'Relax, I'm just kidding with you.' Then, in 2010, you discover Bitcoin, a revolutionary concept. A form of money that can't be manipulated by any government, any central bank. Digital cash for the people. Your mind races with the possibilities. For the first time in history, money could flow freely across borders, free from the control of states that use it to fuel wars or impoverish entire nations. You see what many do not. Bitcoin could be the key to spreading freedom and prosperity to every corner of the earth. You dive in, head first. You're not just a believer. You become the first merchant to accept Bitcoin, the first investor in Bitcoin-related companies. Your relentless advocacy earns you the title, Bitcoin Jesus. You invest in decentralized companies with one mission: to free the world from the shackles of centralized control. But the US, the land of the free, begins to look less and less like the place you want it to be. So, you make the difficult choice to legally expatriate. Despite the murky regulations surrounding this new currency, you hire the best attorneys and accountants to ensure every penny of tax is paid. Your conscience is clear. A decade passes. Then, without warning, they come for you, not just for you, but for your lawyers too. You find yourself arrested and thrown in a Spanish prison, the same prison where fellow libertarian John McAfee mysteriously died. You don't speak the language. You're cut off from everything you know. After months of legal battles, you're finally out on bond, but the situation is bleak. 6 months pass, and you still have no clarity, no answers. Now, in a cruel echo of his past persecution for speaking truth to power, Roger finds himself essentially gagged. He cannot speak out about his case or the broader implications of his prosecution for fear that his words might be used against him in court. Or worse, led to the revocation of his bail and his return to the same Spanish prison where McAfee met his end. The silencing of Bitcoin Jesus isn't just about one man's freedom. It's about whether any of us will be free to challenge the financial status quo. Roger Ver. Where natural law meets human impact. When people ask me what I believe in, the answer is simple: natural law. Not the academic theory of natural rights, but the living, breathing reality that we can make the world better through right thought and right action. That by aligning our behavior with universal principles of non-aggression, voluntary cooperation, and genuine care for human flourishing, we can create the conditions for freedom to thrive. In all my years studying and advocating for these principles, I've never encountered anyone who embodies them more completely than Roger Ver. While others talk about freedom in the abstract, Roger has dedicated his life to manifesting it in reality. A legacy of impact. I first encountered Roger's work in 2012 at a Free State Project event called Liberty Forum, where he introduced many of us, including several who are now prominent voices in the crypto industry, to Bitcoin for the first time. In the decades since, I've watched him consistently stay ahead of the curve, identifying and supporting technologies that offer real alternatives to centralized control. But Roger's impact extends far beyond cryptocurrency. He has invested his heart and resources into more than 40 companies that are transforming the world for the better. From groundbreaking medical technologies making diagnostics accessible to underserved communities, to biotech innovations advancing personalized medicine, to projects reimagining governance itself, Roger's...
I'm familiar with all of that. Just in case anybody who was listening to that wasn't, it's just basically Roger's blurb about his opinion, and all that kind of stuff. I would say Roger is extremely naive as to what is actually really going on and how bad things really are. If he actually knew, there is no way he would just simply be doing what he's doing, trying to fight it. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. They own all the weapons manufacturers. They control the military. They control the police force. They've caused World War I and World War II. They own all the corporations around the world. They own all the hedge funds. I mean, this lot, there's just no way. There is no way anybody in their right mind would go up against them if they knew, certainly what I know. And Roger's trying to do that by shouting his mouth off. All you've got to do is look at what happened to John McAfee. Like he said, I just don't agree with how he's going about it, and especially not what he's done to Bitcoin. Literally perverted it, basically turned it into a tool for crime. And who's going to benefit from that? Well, the criminals that are bigger than you, and these lot are the biggest criminals in the world. There's no way they are going to let Roger win this. So what does Forrest Gump say? Stupid is as stupid does. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Right, let's get on with these posts here, and then from Craig. So Craig has put here, when was this? Literally just early hours of this morning. Although he's told everybody he's in Singapore. Whether he is or not, who knows, but that's what we know now. So he said, the one thing I will apologise for, back in 2015, they mocked me, mocked all of it. The degrees, the doctorates, the accolades, but that wasn't where the venom struck deepest. No, it was the trades they fixated on. My apprenticeship as a mechanic, working with heavy equipment, tractors, diesel machinery, the backbone of the world. My time as a chef, the long hours in the heat of the kitchen, feeding people who never stopped to think about the effort behind the comfort. They laughed at that, spat on it, as if it was beneath them, and I let it happen. That's the part I regret. They called themselves developers, self-proclaimed architects of digital future. They acted as if they were working on building with your hands, for creating something tangible was somehow lesser. As if typing lines of code made them gods, evaluated above those who kept the gears of society turning. They thought they were better. Well, maybe some of them still do. But here's the truth they hate to admit. Without the mechanic, their machines stop running. Without the chef, they starve. Without those who build, who fix, who create with hands, as much as with minds, their digital castles crumble into nothing. Back then, I should have stood up, not just for myself, but for everyone who does the real work. For the mechanic in the workshop, the chef in the kitchen, the plumber fixing the pipes, the electrician wiring the lights. The one who makes sure the world keeps moving, while the self-righteous sit in their glass houses, mistaking their fragility for superiority. But I stayed quiet. I let them think their mockery didn't matter. That silence was my mistake. These developers, these righteous fools, they sneer at the trades because they don't understand them. They don't see the skill, the precision, the depth of knowledge it takes to keep a tractor running, to prepare a perfect dish under pressure. They think they're above it, but they're wrong. Because the world isn't sustained by abstract theories or lines of code. It's sustained by hands of those who know how to do it. How to fix, how to create. They mock the trades, but in doing so, they mock the foundations of civilization. The mechanic who ensures the crops are harvested, the chef who keeps people fed, the builder, the driver, the welder, the worker. Without them, everything stops. Without them, all the code in the world is just a collection of meaningless symbols. So no, I won't apologise for being a mechanic or a chef. Those qualifications matter. They are as essential as any doctorate, maybe more so. And I won't let anyone diminish that again. The truth is this, the world belongs to those who build it, not those who think they're better than everyone else. Poetry, Craig. That beautifully said. Beautifully said. But yeah, it sounds like he's gearing up for a final showdown. It's coming, ladies and gentlemen. Like I've said before, get me that popcorn. Get me that popcorn. Let's get stuck in. That's why I'm doing my show, really. Trying to get the education out there as much as possible, because all the trades that he's talking about there, they all require a medium of exchange that is fair, one that is fixed in supply, so people get a fair exchange of value, not a toxic medium of exchange, because with a toxic medium of exchange, everything goes to shit. Because all the small businesses, unless you can increase your prices in line with inflation or somehow reduce your overheads, you're constantly fighting an uphill battle to stay profitable and in business. That's it. Whereas with a medium of exchange that is fixed in supply and effectively infinitely divisible, it means that small trades and businesses can survive and thrive. And that's what made London the powerhouse that it is, because it became a nation of shopkeepers, not a central of globalization, which is what particularly fiat currency will do, because it's asset stripping everyone, literally everyone, apart from those who can just print that shit from nothing. They're the ones, it's like Henry Kissinger said, who controls money controls the world. But it's really, that's because he didn't want to say fiat currency, because then everyone would be like up in arms about it. But because he said money, and people don't know what money is, they're like, oh, there must be some magic about money. No, there isn't. They corrupted it. It's currency, and it's securities fraud. But that's a great post there from CSW. Let's see this one then. So he said, embracing the idea over the individual, the legacy of Satoshi Nakamoto. In the tumultuous landscape of digital cash, there persists a misguided fixation on the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, a fixation that diverts attention away from the very essence of what Bitcoin represents. It is time to dismantle this fixation and recognize a fundamental truth. Satoshi is not the crux of the Bitcoin value. It is the idea behind it that endures, transcending the individual who conceived it. The notion of focusing on the man rather than the idea is a grave error. For while a man can be attacked, the idea is eternal. Very true. The fallacy of personalization. To center the discussion around Satoshi as a person invites a barrage of attacks, misunderstandings, and distortions that undermine the principles he established. It is easy to launch personal assault against a figure shrouded in mystery. It is far more challenging to confront the unwavering logic that underpins the system he designed. When critics choose to personalize the debate, they obscure the unassailable truths of Bitcoin. The principles of decentralization, or more commoditization, self-sovereignty and individual empowerment. Such a perspective only serves to weaken the argument surrounding Bitcoin's legitimacy and purpose. The focus on Satoshi as an individual is a distraction, an evasion of the real challenge, engaging with the immutable ideas that constitute Bitcoin's foundation. In attacking the man, one is left vulnerable to the pitfalls of fallibility and subjectivity. The ideas themselves, however, are impervious to such assaults. The eternal nature of an idea. The true power of Bitcoin lies not in the identity of its creator, but in the strength of the ideas it embodies. Satoshi's vision was crafted as a beacon of freedom and innovation, a testament to the belief that individuals could manage their own wealth, free from the encumbrances of centralized authorities. These principles do not rely on the whims of personality. They stand firm against the tides of change and challenge. In understanding this distinction, we must embrace the idea that the legacy of Bitcoin is not tethered to Satoshi's identity. Instead, it reflects a philosophy that prioritizes rational self-interest, autonomy, and the potential for individual achievement. This philosophy is what must guide our actions as we move forward in the development of a decentralized financial future. It should be commoditized financial future, but I'll let him off. A commitment to progress. As we reflect on the past 15 years of development, it becomes evident that true progress is achieved through collaboration and innovation, not through idealization of a single figure. Teams have tirelessly worked to evolve the original vision of Bitcoin into practical applications that extend beyond mere speculation. Systems like Terranode exemplify this commitment to turning ideas into reality, scaling to unprecedented levels of efficiency and scalability. This endeavour demands not a fixation on the past or the individual associated with it, but a forward-thinking approach rooted in the foundational principles that Satoshi articulated. By fostering an environment where innovation can thrive, we honour the essence of Bitcoin itself, the idea that empowers individuals to reclaim their financial autonomy. Rejecting the call for identity. To those who insist that Satoshi must be viewed as a man, as someone to be dissected and critiqued, I say this: you diminish the very essence of what Bitcoin stands for. You need to attach value to a personality, reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of the immutable nature of the ideas that sustain the movement. The pursuit of value should not hinge upon the identity of an individual. It should be rooted in the utility and the principles that Bitcoin represents. Absolutely. My commitment lies not in the inflation of prices or the glorification of figures, but in the pursuit of a scalable, effective system that serves individuals rather than the parasitically profiting from speculation. It is time to redirect our energies towards building a robust framework that fosters genuine adoption and utility, free from the shackles of personality-driven narratives. Conclusion, a call to uphold the idea. Let us resolve to evaluate the conversation beyond the limitations of individual identity. Satoshi Nakamoto may be a name that invokes intrigue, but it is the ideas he bequeathed that must command our focus. By embracing the principles of Bitcoin, we champion a future where value is derived from utility, innovation, and the unyielding belief in individual empowerment. As we forge ahead, let us do so with the understanding that the true strength of Bitcoin resides not in a figurehead, but in the clarity of its ideas. The time has come to cast aside distractions and reaffirm our commitment to the original vision, a vision that continues to resonate as a beacon of hope and opportunity in an ever-changing world. The legacy of Satoshi is not confined to the man. It lives on in the eternal principles of freedom and innovation that he instilled in Bitcoin. And really, that's what Roger Ver should be getting behind. But he's not, because he's a small-minded fool. Like, dear oh dear. Let's have a look at this post here from Calvin. Good to see the big dog getting active on social media. Check it out. He says enterprise blockchain can enhance the centuries-old system of double entry accounting by adding a third entry that ensures the figures entered are immutable and independently verifiable, thereby boosting trust while reducing the potential for disaster from unwise attempts to cook the books. The principles of modern accounting have been around since the 14th century, but that hasn't prevented scandals and spectacular collapses. Some of the more recent examples include Enron. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. And WorldCom. Yeah, that kind of WorldCom. I think that was a credit card provider, which not only brought down the companies, but also their auditors, Arthur Andersen, after nearly 90 years in business, who were found to have been complicit in the deceptions. The concept of triple entry accounting, oh, there we go, TEA, emerged shortly after these scandals in a paper written by Ian Grigg. This predated the release of the Satoshi Nakamoto Bitcoin white paper by several years, relying instead on financial cryptographic innovation called the digitally signed receipt. Oh, awesome. And that's the paper there for it. Brilliant. Loving that. Now with blockchain available, there's a publicly proven version of the technology to underpin this triple entry accounting concept. Martin Coxall, Director of Growth at BSV Association, says blockchain assisted triple entry accounting can ensure financial data is immutable, independently verifiable, quickly auditable, available as a single source of truth, and provided as in a single set of books that is able to be shared by the parties globally. Gone is the ability to keep multiple ledgers, each telling a different financial history. Instead, the blockchain is a ledger. You can't convince a loan accountant or auditor to fudge the figures due to the ledger's distributed nature. Attempts to manipulate the data after the fact are impossible because transactions are immutably recorded and timestamped on the network. As Grigg himself has observed, not all blockchains are capable of performing this vital role. Globally, the number of annual voices are in the hundreds of billions, and invoices are only part of the ledger system. Any blockchain that can scale to handle a sufficient volume of transactions is incapable of serving in this capacity. The BSV blockchain has prioritized scalability, not just to meet the needs of today, but the demands that the future will bring. BSV has teamed with Aerospike, an industry leader in real-time high-performance data scaling, to put BSV Terranode scaling technology to the test. Terranode's capacity to efficiently and securely handle in excess of 1 million transactions per second, while limiting individual transactions cost to tiny fractions of a cent, will enable enterprise to utilize BSV for a wide variety of their data management requirements, including triple entry accounting. Even better, BSV's ability to back potentially more transactions into individual block or pack exponentially more transactions into an individual blocks than other proof-of-work blockchains, while also making redundant some traditional data processing energy expenditures, makes BSV a far greener option than blockchains solely focused on financial speculation. Companies like Uniswap, who already utilize blockchain to manage end-to-end supply chain solutions, are devising ways to help accountants and auditors make the leap from double entry to triple entry accounting. The result will be reduced timelines for audits, simplified due diligence processes, and perhaps most importantly, greater investor confidence that the companies they support aren't letting them down the road to ruin. We'll have to see what Tether says about that as well. I don't think Tether's going to be too happy. Good grief with their triple entry accounting and all that. My goodness me. That was a great article there, Calvin. Very good. That is 24 minutes already. I didn't actually see anything on Cointelegraph that took my fancy, really. You know, exchanges, who cares? What happened to crypto? Who cares? Trump administration may boost crypto. Who cares? Trump win drives Bitcoin to 76k. Who cares? Plan B sets 500k target. Whatever. You know, who knows? Bitcoin pundits wary after spoof city sales BTC price gains. MicroStrategy shares up 20% in the week following Trump's victory rate cuts. SEC moles approving Ethereum. Who cares? ETH set. Oh god, honestly, just absolute baloney. Alchemy Pay expands US compliance. 4 new state licenses. Just nothing there takes my interest, really. Nothing. Let's have a look at a little bit of 365 days of Bitcoin history. It's now November the 9th. And so on November the 9th, 2008, Craig Wright, under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto, wrote, "It is strictly necessary that the longest chain is always considered the valid one." And again, this was before the network was even started. The network was started on the 3rd of January 2009. So this is between the release of the white paper and the start of the network. Craig is already explaining this. He's saying, look, it's strictly necessary that the longest chain is always considered the valid one. And we can find that one right here. There we go, look. So, cryptography mailing list, November the 9th, 2008. The proof of work chain is itself self-evident proof that it came from the globally shared view. Only the majority of the network together has enough CPU power to generate such a difficult chain of proof of work. Any user, upon receiving the proof of work chain, can see what the majority of the network has approved. Once a transaction is hashed into a link, that's a few links back in the chain, it is firmly etched. Oh, there we go, etched. Get your tweet etched onto etch. Into the global history. Yeah, lovely that. Need to use that word etched, I think. Yeah, and things in the future. Here we go. And it continues, it is strictly necessary that the longest chain is always considered the valid one. Nodes that were present may remember that one branch was there first and got replaced by another, but there would be no way for them to convince those who are not present of this. We can't have subfabrications of nodes that cling to one branch that they think was first, others that saw another branch first, and others that joined later and never saw what happened. The CPU power proof of work vote must have the final say. The only way for everyone to stay on the same page is to believe that the longest chain is always the valid one, no matter what. Well, again, I mean, that's what will happen in the end, because the longest chain will have the most proof of work on it, because data can only be commoditized one way. And that's the one protocol that everyone will use. All these other chains, like BTC, SegWit protocol, centrally controlled by Blockstream, nobody's really going to use them, and they can't use them because it's too much effort on required on behalf of Blockstream for too little gain, because value comes from the utility. The price of the coin comes from the utility. If it's useful, it's valuable. If it's useless, it's worthless. They're just going to pump it with Tether, but that's a Ponzi scheme just waiting to pop. And they've encouraged trading. So no matter how much Tether they pump in, traders will always take the value out, and there's no investors there. It's just Tether versus the traders. That's it. But it requires, the price is already so high, it requires so much that it's going to be difficult for it to push higher, because the traders are just simply cashing out over and over and over and over and over. That's it. Continues November the 9th. The proof of work chain is the solution to the synchronization problem and to knowing what the globally shared view is without having to trust anybody. Well, these days, we've actually got the BSV Association sort of flagging up which one is the genuine protocol. So even if there is a 51% attack or something like that, there's no one's going to use the alternative protocol. So all you need to know which one is the genuine protocol, and that's it. So, 51% attacks can't really happen anymore. They're not valid. The last bit, when a node finds a proof of work, the new block is propagated throughout the network and everyone adds it to the chain and starts working on the next block after it. Any nodes that had the other transaction will stop trying to include it in a block since it's now invalid according to the accepted chain. There we go, and that's a little bit of 365 days of Bitcoin history, 28 minutes. Let's have a look at these figures. $52, yeah, pre-$52, top left of the screen there as well. We got a Greg coin, 76,266. B Crash, what joke, Fisher Price Cash, who cares? Block size on Bitcoin, oh, we've got a gigabyte block. Haven't seen one of these for a long time, come on. 870090. 1.1 gigabytes in size. Beautiful, beautiful. And 251 megabytes. 8745. Fantastic. I wonder if there were any more, actually. And we've got 1 gigabyte blocks. Where there's one, there'll be another. Let's have a quick look. Oh no, it looks like they were just gearing up maybe data testing for that one particular block. So 75,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Greg coin. Mining Bitcoin at a 7.9% comparable loss. Yeah, let's have a look at all these figures. Alright, let's have a quick look at the miners, see where we are there. Ku still in the lead, 36.6. And Tau, 33.9. Let's have a look at this chart here. Oh, what's this? Here we go. So just slightly heading down, although plodding along sideways in comparison to Greg coin. Let's have a look at Bitcoin versus USD. All right, plodding along sideways there. Let's have a look at Orange Gateway. So this is Bitcoin versus Greg coin. Yeah, kind of traveling along sideways there, really, for quite a while. And let's have a look at their Bitcoin versus USD. Yeah, very good. Let's have a look at Live Coin Watch then. Overall market $2.6 trillion. Grey Coin just with a 24-hour trade volume of just 1.92. That's not much at all. Literally not much at all. Price starting to level out after probably huge amounts of tether pumps. All right. Actually, we might have to have a look at the tether weather. Where is Bitcoin? 52. Number 72. Yeah, kind of mimicking each other. Let's have a quick look at the tether weather actually. See what's going on. After we saw that $2 billion. Whoa, look at that. That's the one. Is that the one? So market cap 122 to 123 billion. Is that another one though? Because that's today. What can we expect to see here in the week? So it went from 120.5 to 121.4 to 122. Good grief, yeah. So that's your 2 billion there, and then another billion, 3 billion in 3 billion in 3 days. 3 billion in 3 days. Good grief. Good grief. That is crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, look at that. Whoa. They're getting desperate. They are getting desperate. You know what I feel like doing? I feel like actually looking at whale alerts here. Any more sleeping wallets awoken? Let's have a look. Whale alerts. What is going on here? November 7th. Oh, I think we've already looked at these. Oh, sent to Coinbase, converted to a Segwit. Only a little one though. Oh, very good. Right, quite enjoyed that. That's 33 minutes. So as ever, if you enjoy these updates, please ding your donations for your appreciation to either Satoshi at sendme.com, handcash.io, simply.cash, relasia.com, rockwallet.me or senti.ch. We'll leave you there. Hope you enjoyed it. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.